Some other stuff that I just think is really good. The description of where they send the guy out. So they go to America and they send the guy out to look at to go investigate the radio signal and to go collect samples and stuff like that. They do this twice. And there's a great sequence where they send the guy out, and he came to a group of gray painted buildings, stores of some kind. There was a weatherproof electric switch upon an outside wall. He went to it and turned it, and a lamp above his head lit up. He turned it off again and went on. He came to a latrine. He paused, then crossed the road and looked in. A body in khaki gabardine lay half in and half out of one of the compartments, much decomposed. It was no more than he had expected to see, but the sight was sobering. He left it and went up the road. The communications school lay over on the right in the buildings by itself. This was part of the installation that he knew, but that was not what he had come to see. The coding office lay to the left, and near the coding office, the main transmitting office would almost certainly be located. And there's this very procedural way that this is written, where it's like this feels like Shute describing like a place he's been and like activities he's done, and it's very mundane, and it's not like romantic or like tense at all. It's just kind of sad and empty and hollow. And I really like the way that little sequence plays out. And then he just has he's got 15 minutes after he's shut down the signal to just read these magazines or whatever. Because it's well, what else is he going to do? I thought that was really fun too.
This was a great sequence because it's like, are you finding out all the answers, right? Kind of the whole book has been leading up to this in a sense, so far. And yeah, we get to see peek inside the box, and yeah, I like that line about where he sees that decomposing person. And he goes, yeah, that's a very sobering view. Yeah,
but it's exactly what he expected to see, right? That's the detail I love, where he's it's shocking, but it's everything's dead.
And I like how he doesn't go into other places where he knows there probably will be more bodies as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The light, he turns the light on and it works. When that happened, when I was reading this time, I was like, oh, are we going to a horror moment? Is there going to be something here? Because why is there still electricity?
Yeah,
and then
it's, in the road.
In the road, and then it's no, this is just the hydroelectrics are still running. So mundane and so so practical. This is a real and I don't mean this in a mean way. This is a very conservative way to write this scene. Maybe I do mean it in a mean way. I don't know. I can no longer tell anymore. But this to me is Shute kind of going, what this scene needs. Again, imagine this in a modern novel. This would be tense. The author would trick you into thinking that there's still something following him, or he's tricking him because you could imagine this being this really hyper dramatic moment. But for Shute, he sort of correctly keys into what you were saying, Pat, which is, this is the resolution to all of these mysteries, and it's not exciting, and it's not tense. It's mundane, and it's the exact answers they expected, and the body is exactly what he expected to see, and the only thing left to do is sit there and read these magazines because what else can you do? It's very it's not quite deflationary, but it's close to being that.
I felt so attached to the perspective of this guy. Everything he was doing is stuff that I would have done as well. His curiosity was in tune with exactly my curiosity.
He does
so when he was like, oh, I still have 5 or 15 minutes left, and he was sort of a bit elated at that, and I was like, as was I was like, yes, he can explore a bit more.
he looks at the packet of Lucky Strikes once, and then he looks at them again, and I was like, this is a man after my own heart. And he's thinking about it, and he's like, can I take him?
Yeah, he was really despairing over that. Yeah,
so funny. And then he has that thought of they would probably kill me, and it might well be death to smoke them, but fuck, that'd be a good way to go out. Oh, not a lot of irradiated cigarettes in apocalypse fiction. Something we're gonna add more of that in. Fallout could never.
Yeah, I was just thinking they should add a nuka lucky strike or something in Fallout. And then I also love the bit where he's like, what's going on over there? Is there a party going on? Then as he gets closer, he's like, okay, they're all dead. They're all dead. There's a dead veranda party going on. But like but that's another part where I was like, I would have to go get closer to see it as well. My curiosity would kill me.
For a second, did you go like, oh wait, what? Like, did you even believe for a second? Yeah, because I did. But it's like 5 men in khaki. Gabardine sat with 2 women in easy chairs around a table. Gabardine's like military garb, by the way. Sat around a table. In the light breeze, he saw the flutter of a summer frock. On the table, there were highball and old-fashioned glasses. For a moment, he was deceived and went quickly closer. Then he stopped in horror, for the party had been going on for over a year. What a fucking
That's a great
line.
way to phrase that.
Like, god damn. Oh. He broke away and turned back and went back to the jetty, only anxious now to get back into the close confinement and the warmth of fellowship and the security of the submarine. On deck he deflated and stowed the dinghy, wrapping up his magazines in the folds. Then he stripped quickly, put the helmet and the clothing into the locker, slammed the hatch down and secured it, and got down into the escape trunk, turning on the shower. 5 minutes later, he emerged into the humid stuffiness of the submarine. Right, we go from this like lurid, descriptive prose that's sort of very procedural, like here's everything that's happening, and it's very step by step. And the second he gets anxious, it's like, like on the deck he deflated and stowed the dinghy, wrapping his magazines, and he stripped quickly, put the helmet, like the prose is now anxious to get him back in the submarine, as he is anxious to get back in the submarine. And to your point, Pat, that subjectivity is so well retained throughout this sequence. I thought it was really excellent basic writing, done incredibly well, just at a sequence level. Like you could pull this scene out and teach it in a class of like, this is how you communicate subjectivity and how you deliver emotional beats and how you pace out a scene. Where I've talked about this before, but like the length of the prose inflates and deflates to reflect the length of the thought and the interior, the subjectivity of the interior subjectivity of the narration, where it's like, yeah, the bits where something is happening quickly and he's anxious, those happen quickly, and they're pacey and they happen in rapid staccato. The bits where he's confident or working through something, they happen slowly and logically. The prose and the rhythm and the structure reflects the content itself.
And I also like how he's deliberating. I want these cigarettes. I can't take them. The captain said I can't bring anything back on board. No, I can't bring these things. And then he ends up bringing the magazines back on board. Like after all, he kept reminding himself not to.
So funny.
I thought that was a nice touch as well.
Right, because that's what I was waiting to ask about. Is like, are those like Chekhov's magazines? Because nothing ever comes of this.
Nah, I think it's just like a human detail. He's like homesick, and like here's some magazine. Here are the last 3 Washington Post magazines ever printed. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but like assumedly they're radioactive, and so now the raft has been bathing in this radioactivity. So whoever gets the raft out next is going to get sick.
He does unless he logics it away where he's like, what is he? I'll see if I can find it. He does produce.
But also, he's just willing to take a risk. He just doesn't care, I think.
Yeah. He hesitated for a moment, then he rolled up the 3 magazines and tucked them under his arm. The dinghy and his radiation suit would be hot and must be left in the locker on the outer casing of the submarine to be washed away by the seawater. He could roll up these hot magazines in the deflated dinghy, and perhaps they would survive. Perhaps they could be decontaminated and dried out and read when they got back to the safe southern latitudes. So he's like, in the same way the dinghy will get deradiated by being in the depths of the ocean, perhaps the magazines will be as well. It's irresponsible. I'm not defending his actions.
Well, that's not even like, that's not where I was coming at it from. I was coming at it more from like the magazines were only brought back because the captain said don't bring something back. Like from the writing perspective, like that's the only reason that they exist, right? So then the fact that nothing ever